Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session for MMPC 008. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
very
sir.
fine. So, yesterday
You are
we had,
audible.
okay, thank you. Yesterday we had discussion about what the system is, the application of IT, designing and redesigning of the organization with information system and decision support system, TPS. Now the thing is that we have to decide how to work or how to take control of the information system. That is, whether it has to be in house or it has to be outsourced. If a firm does not want to use its own internal resource,
Did
I
we
will
just
start
lose
it.
him?
Uh, I will start it. If a firm does not want to own, or does not want to use its own internal resources to build and operate information system, it can hire an external organization that specializes in providing these services to do the work. The process of turning over an organization's computer central operations, telecommunication networks, or applications development to external vendor of these services is called outsourcing. Outsourcing information system is not a phenomenon. Outsourcing options have existed since the dawn of data processing. Activities such as software programming, operations of large computers, time sharing, and purchase of packed software have to some extent been outsourced since in 60s. In firms where the cost of information system function has risen rapidly, managers are seeking ways to control those costs and are treating information technology as a capital investment instead of their own computer center and information system staff. The providers of outsourcing service can benefit from economics of sales. That is the same knowledge skills and capacity can be shared with I was talking about advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing. Outsourcing is becoming popular because some organizations perceive it as being more cost effective than it would be to maintain their own computer center and information system staff. The provider of the outsourcing service can benefit from economics of sales. That is, the same knowledge skills, the capacity can be shared with different customers. And is likely to charge competitive prices. Economy. Outsourcing vendors are specialists in the information system services and technologies they provide. Secondly, companies often have more leverage over external vendors. Third one is predictability. An outsourcing contract with a fixed service for a specified level of service reduces uncertainty of cost. And fourthly, it is flexibility. Business growth can be accommodated with fifth one is making flexible fixed cost variable. Some outsourcing agreements, such as the cost to process opposed to paying a fixed cost to maintain internal systems that are not fully utilized. Advantages of outsourcing. Not all organizations these benefits from outsourcing organization. Outsourcing can create serious problems such as loss of control, vulnerability of strategic information, and dependence on the fortunes of an organization. The vendor in an advantageous position where the client has to accept whatever the vendor does and whatever fees the vendor charges. Vulnerability of strategic information. Trade secrets or proprietary information may leak out to competitors because a firm's information system are being run or developed by the outsiders. Dependency. The firm becomes dependent on the viability of the vendor. A vendor with financial problems or
Is it just me or the lecturer keeps dropping off the call?
our question was when to use outsourcing. Since outsourcing has both benefits and liabilities and is not meant for all organizations or all situations, managers should assess the role of information system in their organization before making an outsourcing decision. There are a number of circumstances under which the outsourcing makes a great deal of sense. First one is when there is limited opportunity for the firm to distinguish itself competitively through a particular information system, application, or series of applications. When the predictability of uninterrupted information system service is not very important. For instance, airline reservation or catalog shopping systems are too critical to be trusted outside. Now we move to next unit, that is unit 10. Our design, application software development and customization. Information system is an arrangement of people, data, processes, information presentation, and information technology that interact to support and improve day-to-day operations of a business, as well as support the problem solving and decision making needs of master and users. Information system is categorized as application software. It can be a standalone module, that is subsystem of an integrated system, to automate processes. issues with the connectivity of internet. This is the limitation.
Yes, apparently I've noticed, sir.
Similar like constructing a building, the software development undergoes what are you saying? Steps like requirement gathering, doing analysis for the cost involved and readiness to adopt the new system, doing analysis for inter and intra process relationship, preparing designs, coding, and testing of the developed software, installation of the software, and finally putting the software into practice by imparting all necessary and sufficient training to users for making it sustainable. We are aware of the concept of integrated application with examples like ERP, SEM, for business automation. Rather, they are developed by IT companies in such a way that the produced system becomes generic. They can be further changed to suit the requirements of the organization globally. Software tools are available to make such application software. The process of making changes in already developed application software is called customization. As everything has a life cycle, so system development also has a life cycle. A system life cycle is the oldest method for building information system and is still used today for complex, medium or large system projects. This methodology assumes that an information system has a life cycle similar to that of any living organism, with a beginning, middle, and at the end. This is known as the Systems Development Life Cycle, what we call it as SDLC. The traditional system life cycle divides the project mainly into four steps, each of which has distinct deliverables, such as computer programs, standard operating procedures, or design document. The four steps in traditional SDLC are the traditional system life cycle is tightly controlled approach designed to reduce the likelihood of mistakes or omissions. Despite its compelling logic, it has both advantages and disadvantages. Control due at specific times, making the schedule of deliverables. However, the traditional SDLC is the standard against which other approaches are compared. Project managers who want to bypass some of these steps still need a way to deal with the issues they raise. SDLC is a standard methodology. for the development of information system. Traditional SDLC was strictly sequential. The software developers had to first complete the previous phase, then to start the next phase. But now concept of repository is introduced in is known as fast SDLC methodology, where work is done across shared repository. It means that all the inputs and outputs of phases must be stored in the oh my, SDLC is a standard methodology for the development of information system. Traditional SDLC was strictly sequential. The software developers had to first complete the previous phase, then to start the next phase. But now, the concept of repository is introduced in SDLC. So the new version is known as fast SDLC methodology, where work is done across shared repository. It means that all the inputs and outputs of the phase must be stored in the repository. Repository is thus defined as data store of accumulated system knowledge, that is, system models, detailed specifications, and any other documentation that has to be accumulated during the system development. This knowledge is reusable and critical to the production system's ongoing support. The repository is implemented with various automated tools and is often centralized as an enterprise business and IT resource. Every custom software producer will have its own specific detailed lifecycle or system development methodology. Even if a particular methodology does not look like cycle, you will discover that many of the SDLC steps are performed SDLC techniques and tools are used. This model resembles a staircase with arrows connecting each step to the step before to do the step after that. This representation of system development life cycle is sometimes referred to as waterfall model. Here you can see what are the different phases of system development life cycle. Project initiation and planning, project identification, analysis, logical design, physical design, implementation, and its operation and maintenance. This is coming down. Similarly, same process is also in terms of feedback goes into this. SDLC consists of many several phases. These phases are also called as SDLC steps or stages. And these phases, steps, stages are, we have seen in the diagram, project identification and selection, project initiation and planning, analysis, logical design, physical design, implementation, and the seventh one is operation and maintenance. Now, the question is what is meant by project identification and selection? The first phase in the SDLC is called project identification and selection. In this phase, the user identifies the need for a new or improved system. This phase stage tries to answer the question why do we need a new system and what do we want to accomplish? This stage determines whether the organization has a problem and whether that problem can be solved by building a new information system or by modifying an existing one. If a system project is called for, this stage identifies its general objectives, specifies the scope of the project, and develops a project plan that can be shown to masters. In large organizations, that this identification may be a part of system planning process. Information requirements of the organization as a whole are examined and the organization's information system requirement may result from requests to deal with problems in to perform additional tasks could be used to capitalize on an existing opportunity. These needs can be prioritized and translated into a plan for the information system department, including a schedule for developing new business systems. The outcome of the project identification and selection process is a determination of which system development projects should be undertaken by the organization, at least in terms of an initial study. Second one is project initiation and plan. The problems that are identified should be investigated, and the decision to implement the information system. A critical step at this point is determining the scope of the proposed system. The project leader and initial team of the system analysts also produce a specific plan for the proposed project. The formal definition of a project is based on the likelihood that the organization's information system department is able to develop a system that will solve the problems or use the opportunity and determine whether the cost of developing the system outweigh the benefits it could provide based on cost benefit project phases and maybe from other analysis. During this phase, the analysis has several subphases. The first is requirements determination. In this subphase system, system analyst works with users to determine the requirement and expectation of users from a proposed system. The systems study analyzes the problem of existing system in detail, identifies of each sicknesses, trouble, spots, and problems. Answering these questions requires extensive information gathering and answering these are computerized that might be replaced or enhanced as a part of this project. Seeing through documents, reports, and work paper during the system study phase are used to determine information system requirements. Cumbersome this system is how many different phases and steps are taken to develop an information system and to maintain it. Next, the requirements are studied and structured in accordance with their interrelationship and eliminate any redundancy. Third, alternative initial design is generated to match the requirements. Then these alternatives are compared to determine which alternative best meets the requirement in terms of cost and labor to commit to development process. In this phase, feasibility such as economic feasibility, which involves questions such as whether the firm can afford to build the information system, whether its benefits should substantially exceed its cost, and whether the project has higher priority than other projects that might use the same resources. Third one is organizational feasibility, which involves questions such as whether the information system has enough support to be implemented successfully, whether brings an excessive amount of change, and whether the organization is changing too rapidly to absorb it. If the information system appears to be feasible from all aspects, then this SDLC phase produces a functional specification and the project plan. In case the project system is not feasible to develop, it is rejected at this very stage because we have already moved to the fourth stage. The fourth stage of specification is the description of the alternative solutions recommended by the analysis team. Once the recommendation is taken by post, the overall requirement is finally documented as system requirement specifications for further consulting both by users and developers during the other phases of SDLC. Then comes logical design. Logical design lays out the components of the system and their relationship to each other as they would appear to users. It specifies what the system solution would do as opposed to how it is actually implemented physically. It describes inputs and outputs, processing functions to be performed, business procedures, data models, and controls. Controls specify standards for acceptable performance and methods for measuring actual performance in relation to these standards. Logical design is not tied to any specific hardware and system software platform. The system could be charts and diagrams are prepared by the system analyst to illustrate data flow and processing steps for further use. But these are the steps which are performed. Then comes your physical design. Physical design is a process of translating the abstract logical model into the specific technical design for the new system. It produces the actual specification for hardware, software, physical database, input and output media, manual procedures, and specific controls. Physical design provides the specification that performs the abstract logical design plan into a functional system of people and machine. Conversion from logical design to physical design takes place in this phase of SDLs. Here, what is happening? The system what we have developed has been now brought to the in between man and machines. During this physical design, the analyst team decides the programming language in which the computer instructions will be written in, which database system and file structures will be used for the data, the platform that will be used, and the network environment under which the system will run. These decisions finalize the hardware and software plans initiated at the end of the analysis phase. The final product or the design phase is the physical system specification, in a form ready to be turned over to programmers and other system builders for construction. The physical system specifications are turned over to the programmers as the first part of the implementation phase. Then comes the implementation. This is the process of putting up a system into operation in an organization. During implementation, system specification is turned into working system that is tested and put into use. Implementation includes coding, programming, using computer languages, testing of the developed software system, and installation of the system. The implementation phase being highly technical with most of the activities done by the IT professionals. The three steps, that is coding, testing, and installation, have to be put under installation phase. For business master point of view, the installation phase begins with the implementation planning for developing the software by computer programmers using computer language. The process of creating plans for training, conversion from old system to newly developed system, and testing of the system by the technical team and users. During coding, programmers run program with that make up the system. Some system development projects assign programming tasks to specialists whose work consists exclusively of coding programs. Other project prefers programmers analysts who both design and code software programs. Since large systems entail many programs with thousands, even hundreds of thousands lines of code, programming teams are frequently used. During the system testing, programmers and analysts test the individual programs and entire system in order to find a correct error. This is very crucial and important phase of SDLC because this is the phase which gets the system developed as per user's requirement, well defined earlier in the analysis phase in terms of SRS. Testing information system can be broken down into three types of activities: unit testing or program testing. It consists of testing each program separately in the system. Testing should be viewed as a means of locating errors in programs, focusing on finding all the ways to make the program fail. Second one is system testing. It consists of testing the functioning of the information system as a whole. It tries to determine if discrete modules will function together as planned and whether discrepancies exist between the ways the system actually works and the way it was conceived. And the third one is acceptance testing. It provides the final certification that the system is ready to be used in a production setting. System tests are evaluated by users and reviewed by masters. When all the parties are satisfied that the new system meets their standards, the system is formally accepted for installation. Then comes operations and maintenance because now you have a complete system. For the last part, if you remember the diagram, that was operation and maintenance. The operation and maintenance phase starts after the users have accepted the new system. This phase can be divided into two activities: ongoing operation and support, and maintenance of the system. Unlike the other steps in the life cycle, these steps continue throughout the system useful life. The end of the system's life cycle is the absorption into another system or its termination. Ongoing operation and support is the process of ensuring that the technical system components continue to operate correctly and that the users use it effectively. It works best when a person or group has direct responsibility for keeping the system operating. This responsibility is often split, with the technical staff from the IT service department taking care of computer operations and member from the users of department in the organization, ensuring that the users understand the system and use it effectively. And secondly, the maintenance. Maintenance is the process of modifying the information system over time. As users gain experience with the system, they discover its shortcomings and usually suggest improvement. The shortcoming may involve problems unrelated to the information system or may involve ways that the information system might do more to support the work system, regardless of the original intention. Maintenance is not separate phase, but a repetition of the other SDLC phases required to study and implement the needed changes. Maintenance is of three types: corrective maintenance, adaptive maintenance, and perfective maintenance. As far as corrective maintenance is concerned, in this type, the errors that creep into the systems are removed. Hence, the name is corrective. Adaptive, it is done to adapt with the changing external factors. And perfective maintenance is done to satisfy the user's requirement to make the system more and more perfect. The steps in each of the phases of SDLC have now been introduced. Now the SDLC is highly linked set of phases where output of one phase serves as input to the subsequent phase. Throughout the system development lifecycle, the system's development project needs to be carefully planned and managed. Therefore, the larger the project, greater is the need of project master. Now, the information system has been implemented. In between, when we were analyzing the different phases, we had been in discussion that computer programming and the language has to be taken care of. So that is why now it comes as Unit 11. We will start with Visual Basic, that is VB.NET. Visual Basic, originally called Visual Basic.NET, was launched by Microsoft in 2002 as the successor to its original Visual Basic language. The last version of which was Visual Basic 6, VB6. The .NET portion of the name was dropped in 2005. .NET is a framework that provides a programming guidelines that can be used to develop a wide range of general purpose applications, from web to mobile to Windows based application. Now, in the present phase, you can see that whatever we perform on desktop, laptop, the same thing is available on our tabs, mobile phones. That means something programming or the language has to be used which can make the system operative in the different modes. The application developed using VB.NET can also be run on other systems using Linux, Mac operating systems. Visual Basic.NET is an object oriented computer programming language implemented on the .NET framework. Although it is an evolution of classic Visual Basic language, it is not backward compatible with VB6, and any code written in the old version does not compile under VB.NET. It is easy to learn and has strong programming features. Object oriented programming OOP is a programming paradigm based on the concept of the objects, which can contain data and code. Data in the form of fields and code in the form of procedures. VB.NET is one it is based on object-oriented concept of modern programming technique. It is easy to learn because its foundation is based on basic, that is beginner, all-purpose symbolic instruction code, programming language, and VB about something more complicated than single number, character, or Boolean data types can do. We were talking about why VBNet is widely used. It it can be language, originally developed by Sun Microsystem. Sun Microsystem was acquired by Oracle in 2010. As of October 21, Java 17 is the latest version. The most striking feature of the language is that It is a platform neutral language. It is intended to let programmers write Java code can run on all platforms that support Java without the need for the recompilation. Java is the first programming language that is not tied to any particular hardware or software platform. Today we are facing frequent fluctuation in the connectivity. I was talking about the features of Java. The most striking feature of Java language is that it can run on any platform. That is, it is platform neutral language. It is intended to let programmers write once, run anywhere. That is Buddha, meaning that compiled Java code can run on all platforms that support Java without the need for recompilation. Java is the first programming language that is not tied to any particular hardware or operating system. Excellent features. The important feature of Java is number one, it is simple and familiar, compiled and interpreted, platform independent, portable, and architectural neutral, object oriented, secure, and robust, distributed, multi-thread, and interactive, high performance, dynamic word assembly, C++. Usually, computer language is either compiled or interpreted. Java combines what is known as bytecode instruction on many operating systems and is portable. JVM works on the interpreter generating machine code that can be directly executed by the machine that is running Java program. The most significant feature of Java is that it provides platform independence, which leads to a facilitated independent means a program compiled on one machine can be executed on any machine in the world without any change or without any modification. Java achieves this. Java is an object. All program codes and data reside within objects. Java is a true object oriented language. Almost everything in Java is an object. All program codes and data reside within objects and classes. One cannot develop an executable program in Java without making use of the class. This indicates that Java very strictly applies the principle of encapsulation, which is one of the prime features in object oriented programming. Java is robust as well as capable of handling runtime errors. supports other features, and has a strong memory master system. It helps in eliminating errors as it checks the code during both compile and runtime. Java also provides the concept of exception handling, which identifies runtime errors and eliminates them. Java is a garbage collected language as JVM automatically deallocates the memory blocks, and programmers do not have to worry about deleting the memory manually as in other languages. Java is designed as a distributed language for creating applications on network. It has the ability to share both data and program. Java applications can run and access remote objects on internet as easily as they do in a local platform. The performance of Java is impressive for an interpreted language because of its intermediate bytecode. Java provides high performance with the use of JIT, that is just in time compiler, in which the compiler compiles the code on demand basis. That is, it compiles only that method which is being called. This saves time and makes it more efficient. Java architecture is also designed in such a way that it reduces overheads during runtime. Java is dynamic overview and features of hypertext markup language HTML. I hope you might have heard this name for websites development and to provide information through web. We prepare documents on in a markup language, HTML. This was first created in 1989. HTML is based I was talking about HTML. Hypertext means that the document contains links that allows the reader to jump to other places in the document or to another document altogether. A markup language is a way that computers speak to each other to control how text is processed and presented. To do this, HTML uses two things. First one is tags, and the second one is attributes. With HTML, we can including reducing related information such as the integration of multimedia and use of hyperlinks, it can also links Java application. We can create its documents with simple ASI to text editor, which is not always true for documents based on HTML. HTML defines documents so that any browser running on any computer can read a display. The basic HTML commands that are needed to create web pages fall under the following categories. First one is structural command. This information about the data in the HTML file. Second one is paragraph formatting command. This specifies paragraph endpoints and heading levels. Character formatting command. This allows us to apply various styles to the character in our document. Then comes list specification command. HTML supports several list formats, including bulleted, numbered, and definition list. Then comes your hyperlinking command. This allows us to provide information about moving from one document to another. Asset interaction command. This allows us to access to multimedia information. Though these commands we can display graphical images, access sound, and provide digital movies for users. Then comes your XML and XHTML. These are markup languages. X is extensible markup language, is designed to store and transport data. It is not designed to display data. XML is not a replacement for HTML. It is a platform independent and language independent. The main benefit of XML is that you can use it to take data from programs like Microsoft SQL, convert it into XML, and then share that XML with other programs and platforms. Many corporations use XML interfaces for databases, programming, office application, mobile phones, and many more as per their requirement. XHTML, that is Extensible Hypertext Markup Language, is a hybrid technology between HTML and XML that combines the functionalities of both to become powerful and efficient. HTML is based for the presentation of data, while XML is used for carrying the data. It was developed by World Wide Web Consortium W3C, which is an international organization that sets standards for the World Wide Web. Overview and features of Excel. Microsoft Excel is a program specifically designed to enter organized data as well as to analyze and present the data attractively. Excel is one of the most versatile and popular spreadsheet programs. It serves as an electronic pad for accountants. It is it is an easy platform, simple as well as complex mathematical operations can be performed. Spreadsheet is a simple worksheet consisting of rows and columns in which any data can be entered. For example, report cards of students are manual spreadsheets. An electronic spreadsheet, instead of being a paper, it is used on computer screens. You all know how to use Excel to some extent, not to all extent, but to some extent. I'm talking about that part only. Spreadsheets are used for performing calculations, recalculating results if any data stored in them is changed, creating financial reports, comparing reports, etc. A spreadsheet consists of row and columns which combines to form a cell. A cell is a box where we can enter data. Column forms the vertical lines of call, while rows form the horizontal line of the cells. Cell is an intersection of row and column. It describes the location or address of a cell. We have to write the names of the column and the rows whose intersections are created this cell. Labels are the headings which we enter in cell. Values are the numbers on which calculations are performed. Formulas and function are elements that perform the described calculation on the values. And the formulas which are present within the spreadsheets are called functions. A spreadsheet can be designed in number of formats. Basically, designing is concerned with how a number should look on the screen. The various designing formats are comma, percent, currency, scientific. The data in a cell may be right aligned, left aligned, or centered. Spreadsheet allows us to use different fonts and styles to emphasize heading. Graph is yet another powerful feature of spreadsheet. The data stored in the spreadsheet can be converted into graph so as to study the relationship between various data. The spreadsheet program has the facility to draw various graphs such as bar, pie, 2D, and 3D. I don't know how many of you have used them, but these all applications are available on your Excel sheet. A spreadsheet allows the users to protect their workbook by using a password from unauthorized access to the information. Now we come to Unit 12, that is Database Resource Master. Now we will be talking about data, how data is managed, and what are the different conditions, uses, advantages, disadvantages. So we will start with data as organizational resource. Before the computer came into existence, there were many limitations associated with the physical handling of documents and human processing. Computers came into existence to speed up the data processing. Computer helped in to manage data. Database Master System, that is DBMS. Database Master System is a software that is used to manage the database. What is database? Database is a collection of interrelated data which is used to retrieve, insert, and delete the data efficiently. It is also used to organize the data in the form of tables, schema, views, and reports, etc. For example, the college database organizes the data about the administration, staff, students, faculties, etc. Using the database, you can easily retrieve, insert, and delete the information. Now, what is Database Master System? Database Master System is a software which is used to manage the database. For example, MySQL, Oracle, etc. are a very popular commercial database which is used in different applications. DBMS provides an interface to perform various operations like database creation, storing data in it, updating data, creating a table in the database, and a lot more. It provides protection and security to the database. In the case of multiple users, it also maintains data consistency. Database allows users the following tasks: data definition. It is used for creation, modification, and removal of definition that defines the organization of data in the database. Data updation. It is used for the insertion, modification, and deletion of the actual data in the database. Then comes your data retrieval. This is used to retrieve the data from the database, which can be used by applications for various purposes. User administration. It is used for registering and monitoring users, maintain data integrity, enforcing data security, dealing with concurrency control, monitoring performance, and recovering information corrupted by unexpected failure. What are the characteristics of DBMS? It uses a digital repository established on a server to store and manage the information. It can provide a clear and logical view of the process that manipulates data. DBMS contains automatic backup and recovery procedures. It contains ACID properties which maintain data in a healthy state in case of failures also. It can reduce the complex relationship between the data. It is used to support manipulation and processing of data. It is used to provide security of data, and it can view the database from different viewpoints according to the requirement of the user. What are the advantages of DBMS? It controls database redundancy. It controls data redundancy because it stores all the data in one single database file, and that recorded data is placed in the database. Second one is data sharing. In DBMS, the authorized user of the organization can share the data among multiple users. Third one is easily maintenance. It can be easily maintainable due to the centralized nature of the database system. It reduces time. It reduces development time and maintenance need. Backup. It provides backup and recovery subsystem, which create automatic backup of data from hardware and software failures and restores the data if required. Multiple user interface, and it provides different types of user interface like graphical user interface. Now comes data modeling. An organization needs to store data to process and have the desired information, and this is done through database. Data models refer to different views of data and the underlying relationships among them. Data modeling is a process of creating a data model for an information system. It gives a visual representation of either a whole information system or part of it. It shows connections between data points. Data models are built around business needs. Rules and requirements are defined upfront through feedback from business stakeholders so that they can be incorporated into the design of a new system or adapted in the existing one. The process begins by collecting information about business requirements from stakeholders and the end users. A data model can be compared to a roadmap, an architect's blueprint, or any formal diagram that facilitates a deeper understanding of what is being designed. Data modeling techniques and methodologies are used to model data in a standard, consistent, predictable manner in order to manage it as a resource. What are the benefits? It reduces error in software and database development, increases consistency in documentation, and system design across the enterprise. It improves application and database performance, ease data mapping throughout the organization, improves communication between developers and the business intelligence teams, and it ease and speed the process of database design at the conceptual, logical, and physical levels. Data model are generally be divided into three categories. The process starts with the conceptual data, progress to a logical model, and concludes with a physical model. The three data models are conceptual data model. Second one is logical model. And the third one is physical data model. We will start with conceptual data model. They provide view of what the system will contain, how it conceptual models are usually created as a part of process of gathering initial project requirements. Second one is logical data model. Here, it provides greater detail about the concept and relationship in the domain under consideration. They indicate data attributes such as how the data will be physically stored within a database. As such, they are the least abstracts of all. They offer a finalized design that can be implemented as a relational database, including associative tables that illustrates the relationship among entities as well as the primary keys and foreign keys that will be used to maintain those relationships. Physical data model can include database master systems, that is DBMS, specific properties including performing tuning. All the above data models can be broadly classified into three. First one is record based data models. Number two is object oriented data models. And the third one is dimensional data models. The record based data modeling has been in practice since beginning of application software development using database approach. The three submodels are hierarchical, network, and relational models. If we talk about hierarchical model, this captures by IBM belongs to a hierarchical data model and is widely models are unable to represent data items that existing at two different levels of the hierarchy. Network models were proposed. The notable system built using this model are ADABAS, IDBMS. IDBMS is Integrated Database Management Master System, and DBMS 10. They were found to be more powerful and were used in various sectors like telecom, production houses, etc. The third one is relational model. Though network models were quite powerful, they lacked in elegance and were not simple to use. The DBMS with relational model is also known as RDBMS. The system built on this model, the latest are built on the relational models. Data modeling in RDMS is achieved in two levels. First one, ER modeling that builds the entities and provides entity relationship diagrams. And the second one is normalization, which removes the redundancies. Object oriented data models come into practice because of object oriented programming, and it has become popular in 1990s. Objects are grouped in class hierarchies and have associated features. Object-oriented database can incorporate tables, but can also support more complex databases. Object-oriented data modeling has advantage of getting more redundancy removed and hence use less storage space on the compared to ER model. Dimensional data model. They are designed to optimize data retrieval speeds for analytical purpose in a data warehouse. The modeling is typically used across OLAP systems for performing multi-dimensional analysis at high speed on large volumes of data from data warehouse, data mart, or some other unified centralized data store. What is the developments in database technology? Under a unified schema that replaces a single site. There have been a lot of developments in the field of database technology. We were talking about the development in database technology. These developments include handling of spatial data such as maps, engineering design data such as design of buildings, component of circuits, multimedia data such as text, image, videos, and audios data, time related data such as historical records or a stock exchange data, and the World Wide Web data. What are advanced databases? Object oriented database. In object oriented object or relational database. In object relational data model, much is the same as the basic relational data model, but for the fact that the object relational databases also handle complex data types and complex object structures. databases. These contains geographical database, clips, designs, databases, medical, and satellite images. These data are represented in raster format consisting of n-dimensional bitmaps or pixel maps as well as vector format. The fourth one is time series and temporal database. These databases contains time-related data. A temporal database usually stores relational data that includes time-related attributes. World Wide Web databases. This has data objects linked together to facilitate interactive access. Users seeking information of internet transfers from one object via links to another. These databases are also called as virtual databases. Now, what is data warehousing? Data is collection of data on a subject. The word data warehouse was first introduced by Bill Inman in 1990. According to him, a warehouse is a subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non volatile collection of data in support of master's decision making process. A data warehouse is a central repository for significant pieces of the data that are collected by various business systems. Data from various online transaction processing applications and other sources is organized on the data warehouse for use decision making process. A data warehouse is used in applications like data mining, web mining, and decision support system, that is DSS. Data warehouse enables the executive, managers, or the analyst to make better and faster decisions. According to Inmon, a data warehouse should firstly have a common format, meaning that data goes into various warehouse should have a common data format. Since a data format is made out of the combination of various organizational databases of the company, every care should be taken to maintain its uniformity. Secondly, since different companies functions as sales, marketing, HR, finance, and production have some variables common in a database, a data warehouse should be able to use these data pertaining to different functions. Thirdly, since data often contains time as a dimension and is updated into a data warehouse periodically, a data warehouse should be efficient in computing all time dependent aggregations again and again. Finally, database. So finally, since data warehouses are never deleted or updated, they should be able to sustain large chunks of data, maybe in terabytes or beyond. A data warehouse grows all the time as new data keeps on adding. In practice, a data warehouse is often resynchronized to keep its volume manageable. Ring synchronization means that data is kept in periods, and as a new period is added, the old one is deleted. So, with this, we will be concluding today's session. Any questions from anyone? We have basic hiccups with the due to this internet connectivity. So I hope since you are studying information systems, so these are the limitations of it. I'm in front of the camera. I'm using the information system. You at your end are using it, but connectivity due to the internet is the limitation of it. Any question from anyone? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Any question from anyone?
I can hear you, sir.
So we will be meeting after 2 hours from now.
Oh, okay, no problem, sir.
That will be your session for MMPC 9.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye, sir.